my name is Noah Barfield, and I have a very special set of skills. A set of skills I've acquired through a long and difficult career, and I'm about to teach you some of those skills here in Writer's Corner. Ha! I snuck up on you. You want to know how I did it? Because I have a skill called stealth that allows me to sneak up on people whenever I want, and I've trained that through the years of hard work and dedication. And you too should have many skills besides writing in your tool belt. All jokes aside, there are plenty of skills that writers should learn that will not only be helpful to have the knowledge of for characters, but will also aid them in their daily lives. I'm going to break these 6 skills down into 3 categories: physical, mental, and emotional. And I'll be covering 2 skills from each category that I think every writer should have some basic understanding of. We'll start off with physical because it's pretty easy and there are a few things that immediately come to mind. First is house care. Learning how to do the cleaning around the house, knowing how to do vacuuming, ironing, laundry is essential, not just for you as a person, but also so that way you can kind of know the daily responsibilities that your characters will have. Next is physical fitness, whether that's sports, self-defense, or going to the gym. This will not only make you healthier and help you live longer and do that whole writing thing more, but it will also give your cast of characters a little more diversity. So next time you're talking about some sports drama, or you're trying to display an accurate combat scene, or you're showing how your characters can actually survive in the mountains for that long, you'll know a little bit about it because you've experienced at least a mild version of those firsthand. Now for a few tips on these couple of things just for people who may be moving out, or maybe their parents took care of them their whole lives, or whatever the case may be. Whenever you're doing house care, especially with laundry, it's important to just read the tags on things first. Whenever you're washing clothes, do cold water, put in the proper amount of detergent. They're commonly a line on the caps of the detergent bottles, and make sure you don't fill the washing machine a little more than half to 3/4 of the way, or else it's not actually going to get the clothes clean. It's just going to smell like mold and mildew. And whenever you're drying clothes, if you're line drying them, make sure you check the weather beforehand. Make sure you're not having any torrentious rain or sleet or anything like that. And if you're putting them in the dryer machine, just make sure that it's not above medium heat and that you're not doing it for too long, else your clothes may shrink. It's also important to learn how to iron your clothes properly, and I'll find a video link for that and put that down below. Additionally, whenever you're vacuuming, try and go in straight lines up and down so that way everything looks nice and also you don't miss areas. Don't be afraid to use the hose attachments to get in nooks and crannies. A well-kept house makes it a lot easier to focus on writing because you're not constantly moving books and dead spiders out of your way. Whenever it comes to going to the gym, you don't necessarily have to go to the gym. You can just do pull-ups outside. You can do push-ups in your house. You can do body weight squats. You can do whatever is most comfortable for you. Starting with body weight is normally pretty easy and just constitutes squats, push-ups, pull-ups, crunches, and just some of the normal exercises that you do. With sports, if you have siblings, just ask them to include you in next time. Or if you have some friends, ask them to take it easy on you. I personally like basketball a lot, even though I'm not good at it. I enjoy playing it. But an easy game is like tennis or even something like table tennis. It's still considered a sport and might get you out of the house. And for self-defense, I recommend taking self-defense classes, or if you're going to learn a martial art, learn something like MMA, Krav Maga, or Kaju Kimbo, something that's designed for personal defense. Now, aside from all of those physical aspects, there are some mental skills that you should have that will not only aid you as an individual, but also as a writer. First, I cannot stress how important self-awareness is. Knowing when to get up and walk around a little bit, being aware of if you're not feeling well, when you need to call in for a sick day, knowing your limits on things is incredibly important. Knowing what you're feeling and why, and not being afraid to analyze yourself is one of the things that makes not only a well-balanced person, but also a decent author. If you're afraid to dissect yourself or really get into your issues or the things that you're good at, if you're afraid to be honest with yourself and be aware of everything that's going on, then you're going to have a much more difficult time writing honest and relatable characters. Beyond self-awareness, a mental skill I find important is strategy. Being able to plan out the romance subplot in your story, being able to orchestrate battles that actually make sense, or actually being able to plan your budget or finances, or being able to develop a marketing strategy is all incredibly helpful. I'm not saying you have to learn business strategy or anything like that, or you have to study Sun Tzu or any of those things, but playing even some video games like XCOM or something like Persona 5 where you have to learn turn order may be helpful, or playing a game like Risk or Axes and Allies, even Monopoly on the weekends can be helpful. I like a lot of board and card games that involve strategy and unique mechanics. It's also taught me about top-down strategy and tactics, especially playing games like the Fire Emblem series. has taught me a lot about how to lay out battles, how to lay out formations, and studying some of the tactics used in military as well. But a good balance to mental and physical skills is the emotional aspects of being an individual and being a writer. When contemplating what emotional skills to pick up or what aspects to develop in yourself, I always recommend starting with self-care. Taking all of the analyses that you got from self-awareness and actually implementing them in non-destructive paths. It may seem counterintuitive to be focusing on yourself whenever you're trying to be more emotionally mature for other people, but that's exactly where you should be starting. Knowing when to walk away and actually doing it are two different things. Additionally, it might help with that whole forever alone problem that a lot of us writers seem to have. Raising your self-esteem and confidence levels, even if it's just for a couple minutes inside your own house, can help your day have a much better start and make you feel better towards writing even after the end of a long shift or something like that. However, emotional maturity isn't just focused on the aspects of oneself, but also your interactions with other people. And so I think it's important to practice empathy. Empathy meaning that you need to not only listen to other people, but try and sympathize and understand what they're going through. I find it much more difficult to be empathetic, understanding somebody's side. I can't have empathy towards myself, and I find it difficult to have empathy towards others. Which means while I may be able to, from an apathetic or logical standpoint, kind of dissect the emotions that I'm feeling or the emotions that other people are feeling, putting into the reasons or emotional triggers as to why somebody is feeling that way, and I can recreate those in a realistic and relatable way in my story, those emotions I don't feel will ever really hit home for somebody because they lack the core empathetic depth of those feelings. Being able to empathize with others will not only show your reader that yes, there is that true emotional core there that will hit home, but it also makes you just a more likable person in general. If you can understand what people are going through and relate to them and sympathize with them and make them feel better about it, you instantly become invaluable to everybody around. I find it difficult to be empathetic towards people because I kind of understand some of the stuff that people go through and I see it through a lot of different excuses. So for me, developing empathy starts with my dog. It starts with my family members. It starts with characters that maybe I don't understand their motives and I'm really trying to put myself in their emotional situation. So if you're struggling with empathy and how to be a more emotionally mature individual, get a dog. And many of you may be saying, duh, I know all of this. Fantastic. Then you're probably a well-rounded person who doesn't need my advice. That's great. Awesome. But there may be people like me who are wanting to move out soon. There may be teenagers who are trying to understand what they're going through. Or maybe there are adults who are trying to get over a slump in their life and they're wanting to get back into writing or reaffirm themselves or anything like that. Regardless, whenever I was younger, I would have loved to have seen a video like this done by an author I actually like and enjoy. But I would love to know your take on some of these. How useful do you think some of these will be in your lives? Which of these do you already do? Which of these do you need to work on? And what skills do you think you should be learning or that you would recommend to other people if you've already learned them and you found them helpful in your life? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear about it. Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. I'll be spending the rest of the weekend working on the videos for next week, and I will see you then.